Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Welcome one and all to Monday, Football Monday here on the SB Nation NFL show. A reminder before we keep going that this show is brought to you by DraftKings. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today and use code SBNFL for a special offer when you sign up. That is code SBNFL only at DraftKings Sportsbook. As noted, this is the SB Nation NFL show. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcast. Search for us, subscribe, leave a rating, write a review. Those things help us out immensely. You can also watch us on the SB Nation NFL YouTube channel. I say us, behind the glass with us in his precious hands is the incomparable Steven Serta. My name is RJ Ochoa, and my co-pilot for today's journey is the one and only Jeremy Reisman. Jeremy, how goes it? What are you feeling in your heart?
Well, according to our pre-show chat, I'm feeling in my heart that I need to go see the new Guardians movie, despite my current. I wouldn't say I'm purposely not seeing any Marvel movies, but I just don't have a ton of interest. But that series has been consistently good, and for a non-superhero fan like myself, I think I could probably enjoy just the music. Like they nailed the soundtrack, which I appreciate.
The soundtrack's always great for Guardians. Steven was the one who told us that he has seen it twice. He actually said, these were his words, so I don't want to butcher them, that it was the best Marvel movie since Avengers Endgame, which seems to be not that Steven, you're, cliche, but seems to be a pretty common answer. I will say, Jeremy, the last movie I saw in theaters was actually Avengers Endgame, which came out the weekend of the 2019 NFL draft. And it was just, that was a busy summer for my wife and I. The whole world changed in 2020, and then we had a baby. And so now we're kind of rent and watch at home people. You know what I mean? That's how I rock.
So you're killing the movie industry. You're killing the movie industry is what you're saying.
I'm still paying to rent movies. You know what I'm saying? And I pay for my subscription services. So that money's going somewhere, I imagine. I don't know what the divvying up and what goes to the studio and whatnot. But are you a movie goer, like a movie theater person?
I do enjoy the experience. I would say I probably fall below the national average in movie going experiences. I think the last one I probably went and saw was I saw the new Avatar over the holidays.
Well, that was like half a day then.
Yeah, I think that I probably paid my weight in popcorn there. So I'd say that was probably worth it. I was pleasantly surprised. I had low expectations going into that game.
We're going to get into football, but last thing before we do, you said you're not a superhero person. We've talked about a lot of pop culture related things. You're not a Succession person. So what do you like? You hate everything. So what do you like besides the Detroit Lions?
I don't hate everything. Dark comedies are my jam. So I am all in on Barry right now, which is one of the more bleak shows currently on TV, maybe ever. But I like both sides of the I'm a Ted Lasso guy too. So
who says Ted Lasso isn't dark? That'll tug at your emotions.
It will. Not like Barry will, but yes. I do appreciate shows that have that range too, that can be that full dramedy spectrum.
I saw a tweet on Sunday night that Barry finally started to have, or somebody tweeted something like, the Breaking Bad vibes make sense. In your opinion, based on Sunday's episode, is that accurate?
I would actually say, and maybe this is just nitpicking, I would say maybe it's more Better Call Saul than Breaking Bad.
Okay, that's the same thing.
It is, but people who've seen both kind of know that there's a little bit of a difference in, I don't know, just the theme, I guess.
Well, Barry comes out on Sunday nights, I presume, right?
Yes.
There's a magical sort of element to shows like that. Succession comes out on Sunday nights too. Again, you've poo-pooed it and said that you're above it and everything. We all know what you've said. It's on record. I like, and Breaking Bad is the only thing I've ever watched ahead of Sunday Night Football. The series finale to Breaking Bad, that night, the New England Patriots were in Atlanta playing the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. And I chose to watch Breaking Bad live at the risk of spoilers or whatever the case may be. Can you believe that was 10 years ago now? This fall?
Insane. That's insane.
I know. So that's the only thing for me. But other than that, there is something cool to let's be real. The Lions don't play on Sunday night a lot. So you kind of, you know what it's like to kind of sit around Twitter.
Literally the last team to play Sunday Night Football.
Well, yeah, but they were flexed in, kind of
so they earned it.
kind of like a silver medal sort of way, like a little blue ribbon. Here's your Week 18 Sunday Night Football game. Lions, enjoy. Anyway, there is something fun when everybody's watching that together. I love
appointment
things
TV
like
is
that.
great.
Yeah, like I will forever remember when was it Moonlight that improperly got the Oscar, or no, La La Land improperly got the Oscar. Like
Right.
I will forever remember that like phenomenon on Twitter. Or last year's Oscars, and the thing that happened. But anyway, we are on the precipice, Jeremy, seemingly, of understanding the sequence of water coolers that we will be gathered around every Sunday night and every Sunday afternoon and mid-afternoon for that matter. Thursday night, Monday night, I guess Black Friday, maybe some Saturdays sprinkled in there as well. There has been some, I would say, I guess, walking back as to whether or not the NFL schedule will come out on Thursday, like it was previously reported by Adam Schefter. So we'll see if that ultimately winds up being the case. But we did schedule to talk about the schedule today. So we kind of have to stick to our schedule, which supersedes the NFL schedule.
Yeah, we're more important in that case. But yeah, I think honestly, it feels like the Aaron Rodgers trade is what pushed everything back. Like, are we going to put the Jets 8 times in prime time or not? Let's wait and see if this trade actually happens. And then it finally happens on draft week. And then they're like, okay, now we can start planning.
I would offer Lamar too, returning to the Ravens, kind of a primetime darling of the NFL. We're each going to offer 5 games that we're looking forward to. Obviously, we hope to understand when exactly they're happening on Thursday afternoon, evening-ish. But before we do, I do have one question as it relates to this, because you brought up, the NFL schedule makers, I guess, wondering, should we put the Jets on primetime? And to be fair, I think you're saying that thought maybe existed prior to the trade becoming official. But my question is even after, because I wonder if the schedule makers learned a big lesson from the Broncos of last year, right? Like they loaded up heavy. And I do think, like, we've seen some bad games, right? Like there have been bad primetime games before. That Broncos Colts game stuck out for some reason. Like, what I'm saying? Like it stuck out and like really tugged at the like thread of insecurity of bad football. So do you think that is at all, or does the Aaron Rodgers element and the New York market outweigh any potential doubt?
I think probably the latter there. I think the New York market is probably going to carry them no matter what happens. And I think the Jets showed enough last year to prove that they're not going to necessarily be a Broncos team. The Broncos were a team that needed a full turnaround, and they were hoping a quarterback would do it on its own. Obviously, they had a good defense too. But the Jets, I think, showed enough where they were close enough where a quarterback could make them a very good football team. I still have a lot of questions about them, but I think they probably feel pretty safe about putting them in primetime. The other thing to consider though now is, I believe not every team is going to get a Thursday night game this year. That's one of the rule changes this year, is that they can put multiple teams on Thursday night. So maybe that does mean they cover their butts a little bit more with some of these teams that may or may not be good in 2023.
I will say that the Cowboys and the Lions too, for that matter, actually we're the only 2 teams have had to play multiple Thursday games before and not really, scoffed at it. Your traditional Thursday night football broadcast, which has bounced around in terms of carriers, and then on Thanksgiving Day, which isn't a nighttime game, but it is still a short rest week. Granted, it's at home, but you and I, Jeremy, we know the struggle unlike anybody else.
That's right. We are the sacrificial lambs of the NFL, and no one should pity us more than we pity ourselves.
Right. Have the Lions ever done in the last 10 years or so the back-to-back Thursdays on Thanksgiving? Because the Cowboys have done that very frequently.
I believe the Lions have only had one Thursday night game ever. So they actually it doesn't happen to them very often. And last time it did happen, we don't need to talk about it. It may have involved a Hail Mary.
Yes, the original Hail Mary. Nobody had ever done that before Aaron Rodgers did on Thursday Night Football in Detroit. Wow. Okay. Well, we can talk about what broadcast would best suit these games as we move through. We are going to each offer 5 games that we're really excited about, because we do know the matchups. We do know who each team is going to play. In fact, we knew that the moment that the regular season ended, which in fact was the last time that we saw the Detroit Lions, that Week 18 Sunday Night Football game, when they ended Aaron Rodgers' Green Bay Packers career. So kudos to the Detroit Lions, of course. I have a Cowboys game. I imagine you have a Lions game on your list that you're looking forward to.
I sure do.
Okay, well, you can go first. Let's start with that. What Lions game are you most excited about in 2023?
RJ, that would be Lions versus Cowboys.
This is
Let me tell you why.
The Lions in recent history, Jeremy.
You're right. The Cowboys have won 5 straight. But I think
I know where you're going here.
People may not realize like how iconic some of these games have been, RJ. You and I know for sure. But there was obviously, I mean, the 5 years goes back to one moment in particular that Lions fans will never forget, which is
Anthony
the
Hitchens, clean play.
Exactly. Sure. Whatever. Picked up pass interference flag after they announced it to the entire stadium, which I don't believe has happened since. That doesn't really picked up flags. Common. Picked up flags after you've already announced the penalty. Not very common. But before that, you have the Matthew Stafford fake spike game. You have the Lions came back 27-3 before 28-3 was even a thing, which was led by an interception by former Cowboys Bobby Carpenter, a pick six.
Do you remember the details around that pick six? The conspiracy theory?
No.
Maybe you're not aware of it. Bobby Carpenter, formerly of the Ohio State, which I know you love, was the first round draft pick of the Cowboys in 2006. That was the year that Tony Romo took over as the starting quarterback for the Cowboys. They actually lost a Week 17 game to the Lions at Texas Stadium. The Cowboys at the hands of John Kitna, and so who ironically would become an incredible figure within Cowboys lore as it related to Dak Prescott. But anyway, so Bobby Carpenter and Tony Romo became rather good friends. And I believe I might be butchering a slight detail. Bobby Carpenter was a part of the wedding party when Tony Romo got married. And so that was the Cowboys' first time seeing Bobby Carpenter, that 2011 game. And people legitimately thought, and this only happens if you're the Cowboys. I hate to do the we're bigger and better than everyone, but let's just face facts. People really thought that Tony Romo lobbed him a softball because they got up so big and he was trying to help out his buddy. That is something that people still talk about today.
And then I believe the next possession he threw another pick six.
Yeah, that one wasn't to a friend to help him out.
No. Point being that these are two teams that they're NFC powerhouses at this point. And I know me saying the Lions are an NFC powerhouse sounds silly, but hey, just take it from Peter King, who put the Lions 6th overall in his power rankings this morning. What were the Dallas Cowboys? Do you want to tell the people?
No, I'll let you. This is your moment.
They were 10th.
Interesting how the Lions didn't make the playoffs and then had the most counter efficient draft of all teams with a lot of draft capital. And have Jared Goff at quarterback still. So interesting.
But it was a good matchup last year. The Lions were on the verge of taking the lead early in the fourth quarter of that game, and everything kind of turned on a Jamal Williams fumble on the 1 yard line. But no, I do think this is this could be a matchup that we see a lot of in the upcoming years, and always produces interesting results.
I agree with you. Cowboys Lions is a low key, good series if you're aware. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, the Lions' last playoff win was against the Cowboys in 1991.
Last and only.
Yeah. So that launched a dynasty for the Cowboys. So really shout out to the Lions. But I agree. I also, a game I hold fondly in my heart was the 2016 season. The last Lions playoff appearance. Am I wrong there?
2000, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, right. So they met on Monday Night Football. It might have been Christmas Day that they met. And this was the Dak Zeke rookie year phenomenon, and everything. The Cowboys could do no wrong offensively, down the stretch. And I don't know if you recall, Des Bryant threw a touchdown in that game to Jason Witten, and he threw it left-handed. And he threw the first left-handed touchdown pass that anybody had thrown at that point in the NFL since Kellen Moore. So who also started off his NFL career with Scott Linehan and the Detroit Lions. So this was a cool little launching point. But
a little trip down memory lane.
It's all good memories for me. I really I don't know what the good one is for you except the Bobby Carpenter thing, which only happened because Tony Romo felt sorry for them. So I guess I don't really remember the fake spike game for the fake spike. I remember it for Calvin Johnson. That's sure, but what was it, 329 yards or whatever? Something.
Yeah.
So you do remember calling it the fake spike game is a really, horrible way to put it is my point. So
no, I guess you haven't seen the NFL Films mic'd up segment of it. It's fine.
But that's not even the coolest, Matthew Stafford at the goal line thing that he ever did as a Lion. The thing he did against the Browns when his arm fell off. That's much cooler to me. So, but the Cowboys live in your head rent free. It's cool. It's understandable.
I understand that the Cowboys don't have as many cool mic'd up moments too. So you only think a quarterback is capable of one cool moment. I understand.
Anyway, okay. So are we ready for my first one?
Yeah, let's hear it. I
am super excited. The one you brought up was really interesting, and I didn't think it would be. So goes to show what I know. But I will say, I really, 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 really am looking forward to the Bengals and Bills facing each other off. And some of that is I can't remember the last time I had been that pumped from a Monday Night Football game. And obviously, it was horrible and terrifying. And we're all thrilled, I think, as a universe to see DeMar Hamlin doing so well. So this will kind of feel like, picking up where we left off, especially because they had just started. And I feel like the Bengals have really passed the Bills. Like the Bills, I'm starting to kind of hate the Bills a little bit. I don't know if that's been obvious. Like I kind of want the Bengals to like just drop them. Like I want them to like expose the Bills. And I feel like they were going to do that. And they did do that in the playoffs in Buffalo of all places. And so I'm kind of antsy for that to happen.
I get that. And I have a Bills game on my list, and I'm going to use that time to defend the Bills a little bit here, but I'm with you. Like I have the Bengals on one of my lists as well, because I think they're just kind of a fascinating team that is going to hang around for a really long time. I don't think a lot of these, there are some teams in the AFC that made a lot of moves, but I think the teams at the top, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Bengals, they didn't do a ton this offseason, but I don't think they necessarily had to, because they know they're set up not just for these kind of 1 year runs that we see from teams. Sometimes they are teams that are set up for the long term. And it obviously starts with your quarterback here, but the Bengals also, they drafted a left tackle too. So it's not like they did nothing. So I am interested in the Bengals season. I do think the Bills are getting an unfair rep, but I'm going to explain why a little bit later.
Okay, so that's really all you have to offer. Like nothing. Like I will say now, I'll give you 6.5 points right now.
Yeah,
you'll take it.
Listen. All right, do you want me to get? Bills Chiefs is on my list.
Okay, that's that natural segue.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kill this take, but go ahead. Let's hear it.
You're gonna kill it.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, Pete, trashing the Bills for the past three months.
Well,
and
Pete's incredibly biased. I'm at least like an objective person that's trashing the Bills.
Right. Sure. Well, yeah, you're at least objective. I don't know. Whatever. Listen, this is a team that was 13-3. We're acting like they were what? I don't know, 10-7 last year? 13 or 14-3? Whatever.
They were 13-3.
Oh, 13-3. They didn't play the 7. Right. Okay. Number 1 team in DVOA.
Okay.
Second on offense. 4th on defense. And I understand they didn't do a lot this offseason, but did they lose that much? They lost Tremaine Edmonds.
I mean, I hate to do the simple well, it wasn't enough before, so why is it going to be enough now game? I just feel like they have to be in constant nirvana for them to truly and that's where they were 2 years ago when they lost to the Chiefs in the divisional round, and everyone made them a martyr and made them out to be better than they actually were because of the way that they lost. And so Von Miller will be back, so I guess you could talk about that, sure, being a boost for them. But their defense is for having a defensive minded coach, a really good one at that. Their defense is kind of shaky, you know what I mean? And so I don't really trust them. What skill player do they have? They're playing. You're playing them. The Lions are playing the Bills. We got to guard Stephon Diggs. Who else are you worried about? Who are you?
They just drafted the best tight end in the class.
Are you really that deathly afraid of Dalton Kincaid? Plus, do you not know more than anybody how well first round tight ends don't work out? Cough Eric Ebron, cough TJ Hawkinson.
Here's the thing, though. You guys have been hating on Josh Allen, and I am just not with it. At first I said nothing. Now I'm putting my foot down. This is a guy who MVP type of player, and yes, he struggled down the stretch. But are we just going to ignore the fact that he had an elbow injury? That made him by his own admission? The stretch.
He completely blew that Vikings game for them and got zero heat for that. He blew it 3 times. He threw an interception in the 4th quarter. He had the fumble on the goal line, and then he lost it on an interception in overtime. He is kind of part of the problem there.
Breaking news: a quarterback has 1 bad game.
I don't think he had 1 bad game. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but I do think he's a volatile player. And he actually reminds me of Tony Romo in that sense, to go back to that. He's either going to carry you with the Nirvana performance, or he's going to be the reason you fall. But, and I will fully acknowledge that, you have to live and die on that sword. There's sure, not a better way to go about that. And whoa, what a problem. Our magnificent quarterback sometimes is human, whatever, but
right.
He needs help. He really does. So in one way, I feel badly for Josh Allen, because Gabe Davis is not an appropriate wingman to Stephon Diggs. I'm sorry, there's not enough. He had the 4 touchdowns in that specific game, and his whole hype has been built off of that.
I can agree to that. I just think 1, you're underestimating their defense. 2, I think we're judging the Bills by a small subset of playoff games, right? It takes just because you lose in the playoffs doesn't mean you're a bad team. It's a single game elimination. The best team doesn't always win. I think we're sleeping a little too much on the Bills.
So here's why I actually want to kill this. And aside from my Bills, like newfound hatred, which I didn't even realize. Like I kind of hate them. Like, I thought it was just like I was mad at them thing.
So you're not
But
impartial.
it's sort
You're
of,
admitting.
well, I was, you know what I mean? But you either live long enough to, die, or you either die the hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. That's where I'm at. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, Jeremy, but anyway, that is a super.
I love Spider-Man.
Nice.
I'm
So I kind of am like, from an impartial standpoint, I'm really sick of the Bills pretending like they're on the Chiefs level just because they play them well in the regular season and sometimes win. Like this is no longer the measuring stick for me for the Bills. Like the Bills, and this is where Pete gets a little bit like Chiefsed out, but Pete is completely right here, and I think Steven will agree. I'd actually love to get Steven in here to get his input on this. The Bills are obsessed with beating the Chiefs. Like that is truly their Super Bowl, and that's a loser mentality in my mind. Steven, why am I right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a real thing. And we've seen the Chiefs, like, it doesn't matter if the Chiefs ever beat the Bills in the regular season again, because they're pretty much always going to play every year because it's a great AFC matchup. But the Bills have pretty much dominated the Chiefs in those regular season matchups, and Kansas City doesn't really seem to care as long as they don't, because they're not trying to show them anything early in the season when they usually play, and they win in the playoffs. So I don't think the Bills roster has gotten leaps and bounds better or anything compared to last season.
Sure.
And we got to see what they have in Von Miller, because their pass rush wasn't very good once Von Miller went down. So I'm kind of with you on the Bills right now.
Wow.
Impartial. Totally impartial.
Thank you so much, Steven. You're the best. Anyway, okay, I'm kind of done.
Gunning for that.
Here's the thing, Jeremy, and you're on the early part of this ride as a Lions fan and as a Lions supporter and as a
Talk
Lions
down
media
to me,
man.
it's fine.
No, look, for real. Don't do the thing, and the Chiefs did this. Don't do the thing where you're like a mid small market team and then obtains relevance and then like gets mad when the ride isn't perfect all the time. Like 2 years ago at the beginning of the 21 season, when the Chiefs were kind of struggling, it was like, well, why is everyone coming for us? Hey, you want a seat at the big boy table? You got to be prepared for the arrows to be slung. Is it slung or hurled or thrown? What happens?
I think you can do all of them.
Yeah, right. Anyway, you have to be prepared for that. And I don't think the Bills are ready for Thank you. I think the Bills are like, they were the cute, plucky underdog, like mafia table smashing team forever. Now be an adult. That's my point.
I think my point is like they're there, like they're right alongside those. Maybe that's not like the fan mentality is like they're playing this underdog, we should be getting more respect, but this is a team that has been a fierce competitor for what, 3-4 years now. Like it's going to crack at some point. They're going to figure it out, and it might not be we need to add this guy or this guy. It's just a growing up thing. It's learning how to win.
I don't want to do this, but I'm going to. So do you know do you remember who they beat in their one playoff win this past year?
It was it San Diego?
It was San Diego doesn't exist anymore.
Whatever. Chargers.
No, the Chargers blew that huge
lead. That was
Jacksonville. It was the Dolphins, quarterbacked by Skylar Thompson.
Sure.
We sit here and bag on the Eagles because they beat Josh Johnson in the NFC title game, but the Bills kind of got a walk in the park in the wild card round.
Sure.
2021. They lost to the Chiefs, obviously in the divisional round. Oh, the coin flip, blah, blah, blah. In the wild card round, they beat the Patriots, a really bad, crummy Patriots team with Mac Jones, right? Okay. So those are their two playoff wins. Both of them division rivals, by the way. So like teams they know extraordinarily well.
And vice versa. The other team knows them very well.
That's fair. In 2020, they had two playoff wins. They lost the AFC Championship game to the Chiefs, big brother. They beat the Ravens in the divisional round. That was, kind of a touch and go game, 17-3, more Baltimore kind of folding than them. And they beat the Colts, you'll recall, in Phillip Rivers' last game with a kind of fluky end of that game, whatever. So like, I think, we're giving them a little bit too much slack at this point. I would love to be proven wrong, Bills. Prove me wrong, I'll eat my words. But I'm ready for my next game if you are.
All right, hit me.
Shocker here, love the drama and love the pettiness. And I love to see somebody talk the talk and then like have to like eat their words. So I kind of am rooting for the Bills. You know what I'm saying? Like for myself to have to eat those words. That being said, we talk about how, Cowboys Lions is kind of this like sneaky little thing. The Niners and Eagles like hate each other. Like I'm here for this. Like I'm all for. So what was the Debo thing last week? Was Debo Samuel came out and said we played the Eagles with 10 dudes. Oh, he said that the Eagles were his least favorite team because like they talk all this trash and blah, 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 blah. And I'm a big believer in if you're winning, you want to, write all these checks. If you can cash them, it's your world, man. That's what the territory that comes with winning. And the Eagles had that all the way up until the very end last year. That being said, now Deebo Samuel's coming for them. I think he has a slightly fair point that it had to have been frustrating to lose the NFC Championship game that way with Brock Purdy getting hurt. Brock Purdy, who was already their third quarterback of the season. And so the Niners are this game is not just happening, Niners Eagles, but it is in Philadelphia. So I kind of want to see the Niners go into Philly and have all the Eagles fans like hating on them and then just blank them. Like that would be really cool in my mind. It would also be hilarious if they went and got destroyed and then it was this matter of like, see, dude, like y'all were talking all this mess and we waxed you anyway.
Yeah, the Eagles are an interesting team this year because I feel like, there's a whole Super Bowl hangover thing, right? A bunch of Super Bowl losers end up missing the playoffs next year. And I feel like a lot of people, and I know Pete had expressed this before, he feels like the Eagles were a team that made one run and they're going to be done. And then I feel like the NFL draft happens and everyone changes that narrative. And it's like, oh no, the Eagles are still here to belong and are right there again at the top of the NFC power rankings, if you will. And then the 49ers are also like a kind of fascinating team because I feel like it's kind of the opposite there. It's like, we still don't know what this team is doing at quarterback, but it's Kyle Shanahan. They still got a really good defense. They still have some really interesting offensive weapons. They're probably going to be fine, but are they ever going to be more than fine? Are they ever like, you want to talk about the Bills not being able to get over the hump?
Sure.
The 49ers are right there where I know they're getting to NFC title games, but it still feels like they're just like, I don't want to call them pretenders, but it's just like, they still need something to get right. Like they didn't feel like a team that really belonged to be there the previous year when they won on a special teams play in Lambeau to get to the NFC Championship game. And then this year, obviously, even with Brock Purdy, everyone was kind of doubting him every part of the way. And we never really got to see if he would have won in that NFC title game, but it didn't really look like it was trending in that direction. So I feel like this is two teams that are kind of fighting off of narratives that there's going to be some regression this year. And I kind of feel the opposite. I'm starting to feel the opposite about the Eagles. 49ers still, to me, have a lot of questions to answer.
I would offer too, aside from the injury in the title game, there was the Devontae Smith or whatever it was, like 40-yard catch, like early in that game when he just like ran and like that is a skill, like understanding like, hey, let's hurry up, let's move on. But like, if you're a Niners fan, I understand your bitterness about the whole situation. I'm with you. I think the Eagles wrote a lot of checks last year. That's my point. And they came so impressive. I said this like in the lead up, like had they won the Super Bowl, it would have been the most like Madden year of all time. Like all your players led everything. You know what I mean? Like you had all the like all pros and Pro Bowls. Like it was like you were playing it on rookie mode and they didn't, you know what I mean? So like it will get forgotten, like ultimately in the like, history books, so to speak. But so they have the history with the Niners coming to town. They will visit the Chiefs. I almost went with that game. I hate to ruin all these if you're going this direction. Sorry. And so I'm super excited to see like if I would, and again, in like a drama, pettiness, fun, anarchy, chaos way, I would love if Patrick Mahomes didn't get sacked a single time. Because like it was like, oh, well, the field and like we were slipping and like on another field, like the pass rush would have neutralized them. Like that will be an interesting kind of like Rorschach test to me. Also, this is a lower ranking on my totem pole, but the New England Patriots, the NFC East and AFC East play each other, and the Patriots will, I believe, be in Philly. So Juju, who had the joke about James Bradbury, and the holding, I think it was on Valentine's Day. Right. I'm very, very anxious to see that. Like, again, similarly, it'd be hilarious if he had like 200 yards or something like that. So yeah, I'm interested in all these narratives.
I was looking for a lot of those narratives. Like, I was looking for, is Aaron Rodgers playing the Packers? Is Sean Payton playing the Saints? I couldn't find a lot of those connections. So I'm glad that you kind of went a little deeper into like Twitter beefs,
right?
Which is totally worth it. Like that, those are fun storylines as well. But yeah, I did have Eagles Chiefs. We don't need to talk about it much. It's the Super Bowl rematch. It's an easy one. We can finally put to bed like the holding, Patrick Mahomes' injury, field conditions, all that stuff. Let's throw this out week one. Let's get it out of the way too.
You want it? You like, because I feel differently. Like you're saying, as an NFL fan, you want to see the Eagles have to watch the Chiefs raise their banner, a la the Panthers when they visited Denver 100%. In the 2016 opener.
Yes,
okay. Sell me. I'm with you, but land the plane.
It's absolutely drama. I mean, you're going to get both teams extremely fired up in pregame warmups. I could definitely see those teams like jawing at each other through the tunnel. And to me, honestly, like I forget by October, November what the last Super Bowl was. Like, I don't even care anymore. Like, there's so many more new narratives and fun things. Like, hit this while the iron is hot. While this, just go back to back. Make it a 2-game series. I don't care. Like, to me, you always want to try to fit last year's Super Bowl narrative as early as possible in the season because, like I said, like we're talking about a whole new season by October and putting January way in the past.
I like the pettiness involved. Like I said, I like winner or history is written by the winners, and I'm a big believer. That's why I gave the Eagles their credit last year. Like, if you're winning, talk whatever you want, man. Like, it's your world, and like you should remind everyone that you won the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Like, you should rub it in people's faces every opportunity that you get, because I know that's what I would do. You know what I mean? Like, and I would enjoy all of it. And so, like, yeah, I think it would be like an amazing moment if you're a Chiefs fan at Arrowhead. And if you think about it, and obviously, you know, this was a small thing, but the last time the Chiefs raised the banner was the opening game of the 2020 season. There were no fans, obviously, like, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, give the Chiefs fans, like, their due. Give them their moment to raise it over the team they beat. Give Andy Reid that moment over the Eagles. I think that would be really cool. I mean, I'm here for it. And I would, like, I know the Chiefs wear their red jerseys at home, but wear the white ones. You know what I mean? Like completely, totally recreate the event. Put everyone in the same costumes. Like, that's what I'm about from a narrative standpoint. So I would love this.
Rihanna.
Yeah, like, exactly. Like, and I think, like, if you lose, like, it sucks, but like, you lost a few weeks ago. My Astros are not doing too well right now. I'm a little bit down on that. But last week, the Philadelphia Phillies visited Houston for a series, and obviously the Astros beat the Phillies in the World Series last year. And Nick Castellanos was complaining about how Orbit, the Astros mascot, I don't know if you saw this, Jeremy. Orbit was walking around with like a mascot-sized ring and like kind of rubbing it in the like players' faces, and he was like complaining about this. It's like, dude, they beat you in the World Series. like they have that right. Like, that's
earned every right to do that.
Exactly. So I'm a big believer that, like, we're so football starved by week one that I don't need the filet mignon. But you know what, Jeremy? I'm here for it. Like, let's do it. Like, I would have been satisfied with chicken tenders, French fries, and what's your condiment of choice?
Honey mustard.
Over ranch?
Yes. Or buffalo. I'm not a big ranch fan.
Whoa, we're way too deep in the weeds now. Honey mustard I can rock with, but buffalo is too much. But yeah, I was down for that. But no, we're here at the finest steakhouse in town. Let's do a filet mignon. Good call.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Do you want to give me your Dallas one? Get that one out of the way? Or are you saving that for last?
So my Dallas one is really obvious. I don't know if that makes sense to you. We've done a lot of like common games, I guess. Out intra conference. Intra. I guess you just did Chiefs Eagles. Sure. So, you know, that was the first one. Yeah. But I think that was the first one that we had that was opposing conferences. I don't know which one is inter and intra. But anyway, Cowboys host the Jets this year. And it's Mike McCarthy versus Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. I hope for the Cowboys in this particular game. Again, assuming NFC standings, you know, are favorable for you. Sure. That being said, Dallas had a 14-point lead at Lambeau Field last year, and Mike McCarthy's homecoming, and I wanted it so bad, Jeremy. I wanted it so bad, and they blew it. And Aaron Rodgers completed 14 passes and then walked around all smug, like he did something special. Like, oh, Aaron Rodgers mounted the 14-point comeback, whatever. This is their first meeting against one another at AT&T Stadium, the building where they won the Super Bowl together, at the time Cowboys Stadium. Cowboys Jets, also kind of a sneaky good series. The Cowboys lost to the winless Jets in 2019. That was Sam Darnold's first game back from mono, and so they lost. And then afterwards, Jamal Adams did the like super low hanging fruit thing and looked into the camera and said, "How about them Cowboys? Like, you don't have to do this anymore, people. Like, when you beat the Cowboys, like, you don't, like, everyone has done it. Like get original." That's my point. Anyway, Cowboys. Last time they played the Jets was on primetime. It was at AT&T Stadium. It was on Saturday Night Football. Ryan Fitzpatrick was the Jets quarterback. This was 2015, and Kellen Moore came into the game for Matt Castle. That was the year Tony Romo was hurt. And the two teams opened against one another on Sunday Night Football in 2011 in week one. So yeah, Cowboys Jets. A lot of people want it to be on Thanksgiving. My contention is, if you're the NFL, why, like, Cowboys, whoever is going to be the most watched game of the year on Thanksgiving. Like, you don't need to burn this. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But Cowboys Jets, AT&T Stadium, I want this bad. I want this mantle, Jeremy. I want it so bad. The Cowboys, I don't know if you know this, they've never defeated Aaron Rodgers in their home building.
That's interesting. can't relate. But to me, this might be like a bottom 5 game. I want nothing to do with this game. I definitely don't have any Jets game on my list. Actually,
Just
that's
the only
not true.
one.
I do
point,
have
like it's really nothing to do with the Jets. It's just the Aaron Rodgers thing for me. Like I'm not interested in the Jets narratives at all. I'm with you on that.
Well, to me, it's double headed that way. I have no interest in, like, Aaron Rodgers is out of the NFC North. I don't have to think about him again. Of course, he's going to show up a million times on ESPN and every single. We'll probably talk about him a million times here. But yeah, I don't like the Cowboys. I certainly don't like Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I do have a Jets game on here, but it's only for one line. I have a one-liner for it. That's it. We'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like this is a very personal game for you, and I respect that. I certainly have my own grudges to hold in this. That's what that's what NFL fandom is really all about. It's holding grudges and eventually either winning those over or just getting defeated again and hurting for years and years to come.
Assuming there's not a seismic impact on the lines, right? Like a Cowboys win knocks Detroit out of the playoffs or something like that. Like,
Sure.
Who are you rooting for? Like it's making yourself as impartial as you can. Like, do you want to see Aaron Rodgers lose? Like, do you want to see the Aaron Rodgers Jets fail? Like, based on your own hatred for him? Like,
I think I do.
So you're rooting for the Cowboys?
No, that's not the same thing. Those things are not. Those things can be mutually exclusive.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm ready for your fourth one. However, I do want to ask you a quick question. This was floating around on Twitter on Sunday on my timeline. So Micah Parsons was at the Sixers Celtics game. I don't know if you saw this. And Micah Parsons, who's from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and was wearing a Sixers jersey. So there was all this like, how dare he wear a Sixers jersey, a Philly jersey, whatever. I feel like this is a pretty non-story. Like I can't imagine how people are like worked up about this. There's no Cowboys fan who's like, how dare he? There's a lot of people who are not Cowboys fans that are like, oh, he clearly is all about Philadelphia.
If they were playing the Mavericks, like that would make sense. Like, okay, you could get a little upset about that. It's still a little petty to get upset about that. But like, here's the thing about the NBA. I feel like you're more than any other league. You're more fans of individual players than you are teams. And if he grew up there, then allow that to be his team. Like, he doesn't have to swear allegiance to your team just because he plays for your football team. That's silly. So yeah, that's a non-story, but we're in the off season, so why not?
We each have two more. So hit us. You got this. I believe.
I'm gonna go a little off the beaten path here, and I'm gonna go Ravens Steelers. And part of
that was my next one. Holy
was it really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, yeah. Let's tag team this one, because to me, like, AFC North games hit different. Like, they have had some of the best rivalries in the modern age, and you got the Ravens team who suddenly went from being a team that we were all going to forget about in 2023 to being saved by Odell Beckham, who not only brings Lamar Jackson back with him, but they also get Zay Jones in the draft. So Zay Flowers, sorry, Zay Flowers in the draft. So now that Ravens offense, like, back to, okay, like, this is a serious team, a serious contender that could contend with all these teams we've been talking about ad nauseum in the NFC or in the AFC with the Bills, the Chiefs, the Bengals, all those teams. Like, now the Ravens are part of that conversation, and the Steelers just will never go away. And Kenny Pickett was one of the best quarterbacks in the league in the last month or two of the season. And I wish they would have gotten him more weapons. I still think they're probably a year or two away from being like back to where they were. Like, their biggest offseason weapon addition was Allen Robinson. So I'm like, okay, maybe some work to do there. But again, they get a left tackle in the draft, so they're protecting their investment. I miss the days of Ravens Steelers being huge, and you throw the Bengals in the mix too. I think that division might have some of the most entertaining games, really, of any conference or any division in the NFL in 2023.
So I really respect the Bengals. Let me be very clear. So this isn't at all intended as a slight to them. The Browns just exist at this point. But so you said that AFC North games hit different. There are the occasional Steelers-Bengals game that is kind of intense. There was the Vontaze Burfict game. That's really the kind of only one that jumps to my mind. It's really not AFC North games to me. It's really Steelers-Ravens games. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're kind of carrying the division rivalries as a whole. Now, I'm going to specify, I'm looking forward to the game in Pittsburgh. I don't hate the Steelers the way like some old school Cowboys fans do. The Cowboys lost. I really don't know if you know this, 2 Super Bowls with the Steelers in the 70s. So a lot of like older Cowboys fans really hate them. I love their Tiffany brand. I've been to a game there when the Cowboys visited in 2016. The vibe is incredible. Like, I just love everything about it. And so, plus, I love their fans. Like, I love how into it they are. And I respect Mike Tomlin, the fact that they finished above 500 again. Like, it does feel like they're kind of lurking. We both had them as this team, like, kind of hiding in plain sight, kind of reloading, kind of letting everybody fall in love with the Bengals, rightfully so. Now the Ravens are kind of having their moment in the sun. I really want to see, like, the rubber match between, like, it feels like we've been robbed for the last few years. Like, the last one I really think about was that Antonio Brown goal line score. Like those games are like riveting. I mean, it is actual theater. So I'm ready for the Ravens in Pittsburgh. Bring it back. I want all 3 of these teams, kind of the Bengals in the playoffs. This was an excellent choice by you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Plus, like, I don't really root for like rivalries between coaches. Like, once upon a time, I did enjoy the Pete Carroll, Jim Harbaugh stuff. Like, that was kind of fun. But like Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh are, and like, there's no bad blood, you know what I mean? There's no beef. There's just like 2 really good coaches who like, go the distance with one another.
Yeah. And you think about it, and maybe you had that with Belichick and Dungy for a while, but it feels like there has been a really significant, and I don't know if it's just there hasn't been a lot of good coaches that have lasted a long time. It does kind of feel like that, but the Steelers have their coaches forever. Ravens have had Harbaugh forever. Yeah, I'm with you. I think we both nailed this.
Yeah. So Tomlin took over in 2007, and I think Harbaugh took over in 2008. And
there you go.
It's just been boom, boom, but it's somebody's turn, the other's turn. And like, I love how they've been kind of carbon copies of one another, like with their explosiveness and defensive prowess and like defensive stars. Like, so I'm kind of ready for like a new era, like a new generation of Ravens Steelers. Wow. I got fired up about this one. Good job. What do you want the uniforms to look like? I guess since we're kind of doubling up on this game, I'm going to paint you the whole picture. I want it in Pittsburgh. I want it to start at 3:00. I want the Cowboys to have played on Thursday night or Monday night, so I can devote all my attention to this game.
Sure.
I want the Steelers in their black tops and yellow bottoms, obviously, and I want the Ravens in black pants and white jerseys. Miss me with the purple stuff, like not for this game. This game has to be a classic.
I think I'm going all black for Ravens. I'm usually not a color rush guy. All black for this one. White tops for the Steelers. Got to have the yellow pants. So yellow pants are like do they even have a uniform that's not yellow pants? If they do, they have
their color rush is the all black stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like with the yellow numbers, and it's like kind of like a neon yellow. Wow. Okay, this is really good. Okay, so we doubled up on this one. So so we each have one left now, and then Steven will offer one to get us to an even 10, presuming that you and I don't have the same one. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first here for the last one? What do you want to do?
Once you go, I do have 2 left because I knew there might be an overlap. But again, one of them is just the Jets, and I just wanted to say one line. So we can.
I don't know that I've ever told you this, that I've ever been this vulnerable with you, Jeremy. But so my cousin, whose name is also Jeremy, by the way, he and I for like 10 years, we have every year shared a Madden franchise together, and we each control a team, one in the NFC, one in the AFC. We have certain rules. Nobody can be the Cowboys. We each get like a Cowboy star, whatever. We play it all throughout the season, et cetera, et cetera. So do you know who my team is for this most recent Madden? My cousin is the Vikings, so I'm an AFC team.
I'm guessing it's a team you're about to say you're looking forward to seeing in this 2023 season.
Who do you think it is?
It's certainly not going to be the Bills.
It is the Bills. That's the team that I've been. I'm telling you, I'm a big Bills fan, but like they've disappointed me, and I can't I can't let my fandom trump my like analysis and level of logic. But I've already talked to Jeremy, and I've declared the team that I want to be for the next Madden. That's where I came at this. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we kind of, after the draft, it's like, looking at, I want to be this team. My cousin, Jeremy, he's going to be the Ravens. He's really excited about this. I'm going to be the Seattle Seahawks. All right. I'm in love with the Seahawks. Absolutely head over heels in love. I love 3 of their away games very much. They visit the Ravens. So Jeremy and I are going to have, it's going to be a tough time, within the family when we play each other. Seahawks visit the Bengals, which isn't like a great rivalry, but 2 great teams. Seahawks visit the Lions, which I'm really, really, really excited about. But a lot of that depends on the Lions actually like living up to the hype. So
oh boy,
not willing to bet on that. So I'm going to pick the Seahawks in San Francisco. The Rams don't exist to me. Whatever. Go down, prove yourself, announce yourself. They hung in that game, obviously, in the wild card round last year. I really believe the Seahawks have the potential to win the NFC West. If they can go to San Francisco and revive the 12s, I'm all about it.
Yeah, I like the Seahawks a lot, and I said last week I really like their draft. They were a decent team last year, probably not a playoff team, even though they made the playoffs. But yeah, I think the league in general is better when that NFC West is competitive, and I do expect it to be competitive again this year. And with those two teams, the 49ers, we already talked a lot about. The Seahawks are a team that they almost feel like the Steelers of the NFC, where it's just like they're never going to quite go away. Because they are just one of these steady franchises that even when they're, quote unquote rebuilding, they're doing a good job. They're doing it the right way. They're doing it smartly through the draft. And so, yeah, I think the Seahawks are going to be a fun, dangerous team next year. And, since everyone's on the Lions bandwagon, I think maybe the Seahawks are flying a little bit under the radar. And I do think they could be a dangerous team this year.
They have the best modern uniform in the NFL. Like outside of the classics, like I didn't used to like the grays, but I kind of like the grays. I like the gray tops with the navy pants. I'm into that. Wow.
This is all very hard for me to admit to, RJ, because they technically knocked the Lions out of the playoffs and they took the Lions' obvious first round pick with the 5th overall pick when the Lions are picking 6th. So for me to admit that the Seahawks are a good, interesting team, I think speaks to the legitimacy of that, because I hate them right now.
I think the Seahawks feel okay because they lost a Super Bowl in your building, as we've discussed many times.
That is
so, true. Yeah. Okay, give us your last one, and then Steven will take us home.
I'm just going to do the joke one because I don't care. The other one was Jaguars, Bengals. I don't think we talked about the Jaguars enough. Another team that's kind of forget it. Who cares? Dolphins,
Seahawks South.
Yeah, sure. Dolphins, Jets. Tuanon versus Q Aaron.
I mean, okay. Like the Miami Grand Prix was in Miami, obviously, and around their stadium this past weekend. Like that's the most interesting thing that's happened with the Dolphins to me. Like I'm.
Are you not buying them at all? Like as a team that like a healthy Tua, they're right back in that conversation.
I mean, I don't know. I would love it. I would be interested, but like I'm just kind of like it's all like kind of like it's just.
That whole AFC East is really hard to figure out, though, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't like. I'm interested. I just don't want any stock. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll totally sit back and watch. I just don't want to have any like investments in it myself.
Okay, I can understand. There's not a likable team in there to you.
Yeah, like nobody really stands out. Plus, like Dolphins, Jets. Also, is this in Miami? Is this the one you're picking? Because isn't that like? Oh no, the Patriots are the team that has the bugaboo in Miami. But like, I mean. I don't know. Like, and like, I kind of get like sick of the like South Beach stuff. Like, it's just so overwhelming. Like, I just, whatever. like the Dolphins to me are such like we talk about like Ravens Steelers and like when it's like mid-November and that game happens, like it fits like the weather, right? Like it's mid-November and you're like, it's like 40 degrees outside for you. You got like some chili on the stove maybe. And then like, CBS goes down to Miami where it's like 68 degrees. Like that doesn't like feel right. You know what I mean? Like it's just whatever to me. So.
Yeah. I do kind of hate that like, the early season games in September and October is just like, well, everyone better hydration becomes a big story when you play the Miami Dolphins in Miami because you have to sit in the sun because only the away side is in the sun all game. And I remember the Lions went down there and they literally like set up a crew of people like holding barriers over their heads so that they aren't getting like, no one wants to talk about humidity and hydration.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're fine. Or like I would have been, whatever. It's fine. Maybe the Miami game at MetLife, I'm a little bit more into. But also like I need the Dolphins to go back to their old school logo. That happens.
Yeah,
now I can start taking you a little bit more seriously. You know what I mean? Like this modern one is just it's not doing it for me.
Bring out Ray Finkel for halftime. Yeah.
Right. Okay, Steven, could you please come in and give us a nice even Steven 10? Even Steven, the adjective, not a play on your name. So an even Steven 10, and then who won MFL MVP and why, please?
I thought about picking Chargers Dolphins, but I decided to go a different direction because I think you guys will be surprised, and I'm actually really looking forward to this game. So I picked Chiefs versus Bears. It is the Germany game for the Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, but in all likelihood, it's probably going to be the Germany game. But I just think the Bears got a lot better this offseason, and I'm a Justin Fields believer, and I think that he's a really exciting player. I think that he still has a lot of steps that he can take as a passer. And I think the Bears are just going to be a lot more entertaining than we're really giving them credit for right now. So I'm actually really excited about that football game.
They're the sleepers in the NFC North. I've been saying this all offseason.
Yeah, they had a really good offseason.
I will say,
a lot of talent, good draft. Like, I like what the Bears are doing right now.
I will say they were, you're good for at least one or two really awesome Justin Fields highlights every game. And that was even true last year. Even when they did lose 10 games to finish the season. They have a long way to go, especially defensively. And I still think they have a long way to go there. But I mean, Germany, potentially a really, really high scoring game between the Chiefs and the Bears. I can dig that.
This is a good game, Steven. I'm with you. I've been with you from day one on the Justin Fields thing. So congratulations to us. Very excited to see all the Germany stuff. Very excited to hopefully see the schedule as a whole on Thursday. Like I said, we all have our fingers crossed. So who cares about the schedule though, Steven? The time has come. MF double MVP. Who won it? And more specifically, why?
I think I'm going to go with Jeremy today.
My cousin or Reisman?
Only because I'm with him on the Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl rematch. Let's just get it out of the way. Let's kick it off in style. That was an incredible Super Bowl matchup. Let's just do it that way and get it out of the way, because it's going to be a completely different conversation by the time, next January, February hits. So let's just get it out of the way so we don't have to build up to that for 10 weeks during the season.
Just to be clear, I agreed with that point and added some input and analysis myself. It wasn't exclusively Jeremy's point. And I actually said Eagles Chiefs first, and then he said, "Oh, you said the game that I was going to say." So it feels like I ghost wrote your MFWP, Jeremy.
Well, we can split it today. Both of you get a
whoa. Has this ever been done, RJ?
I really don't know. But Jeremy, it's time for your acceptance speech. I say that begrudgingly. So go ahead, get what you want to say out, and let's get out of here.
I think I just want to say, listen, the NFL schedule release, I think every year people have this negative reaction to the NFL schedule release, say it's not even a big deal. We already know the opponents, blah, blah, blah. You have to understand, it's not necessarily for you. It's for a lot of the road fans, displaced fans that are, Lions fans waiting in Kansas City to buy those tickets to see Lions Chiefs. It's Cowboys fans waiting to see whoever they play, where they think. And and listen, yes, the NFL blows everything out of proportion. Yes, you're going to get bombarded by week predictions and strength of schedule articles, but let people enjoy things. I think that's the main takeaway I have. Let people, I'm not a big superhero guy, but you guys can go watch Guardians of the Galaxy or whatever you want to watch. That's okay. I don't hate Succession. Just not for me. Enjoy it, RJ. Don't call me a hater. I allow you to enjoy what you enjoy. Allow me to enjoy what I enjoy, even if it is almost nothing.
That was a really sweet point and good way to end it. I think you deserved the MFW MVP today. My only thing, if I'm offering a statement to close, I've said before, I kind of hate when people state obvious things as original thoughts. So what I don't need to see on Thursday, presuming the schedule does come out, is the man, I tell you, the NFL can make an event out of anything. We know. We know, we don't need this presented. Yeah, we don't need this presented like it's an original thought. So okay, Jeremy, let's close with you telling us 3 flavors of ice cream that you enjoy.
Moose Tracks number 1, mint chocolate chip number 2, number 3, anything with a cheesecake batter in it.